Hello and welcome to another episode of It Could Have Been a Classic. And this week we're going to be talking about Special Unit 2. Wow. Do you know, I've had such an amazing time watching this week. It's luckily it's all on YouTube. I did try getting it on DVD, but I can't get it in this country, and it's been quite hard to find. And if you do find it on DVD, it's a bit overpriced. So I thought, well, no. And then it were on YouTube. Now, I watched this 20 years ago on the Sci-Fi Channel. Might be a bit, 2001. Yeah, 19 years ago. And I just fell in love with this series. Well, I've not seen it since that time. You remember when you had the Skybox and Sci-Fi Channel, the good days of sci-fi, not like it is now. So, in 2001, anyway, this program, this series, Special Unit 2 came, right? Now, I remember watching it first time round, it were only on for like 6-7 episodes, then it vanished, and I thought, well, that didn't last long, has it been cancelled? And then we got season 2, which were about 13 episodes. Now you're going to ask the questions, why is this a classic, or is it going to get the title? Well, let's go into it. I'm going to, obviously, from the positive outcome I'm talking about this is not Codename Eternity. Trust me on that one. Right. So in 2001, this came out, and I was extremely fascinated. So I remember reading about it in SFX, and Alexandra Lee's in it. Oh, again, a big fan, and so I tuned in. Is it John Landis? I forgot his name now. The O'Malley. So basically, it all starts off in first episode that there's this young girl in her bedroom, and outside bedroom window, she's scared, right? And there's this pair of like claws on the windowsill outside. That's how it starts. So then after credits, we go like that young girl. You figure it out. The young girl is now Kate Benson, the police officer. So she's on this mission now. She's all her life. She's seen things that go bump in the night, at the corner of your eye, and somebody's been taking young girls, right? And she turns up in a building, and a gargoyle turns up, and it's going to kidnap the kid. She said, "I've seen you before," and he's like looking at her, going, "Well, you haven't seen me." And she shoots it, and bullets just bounce out. But she's being followed by this guy. And he just walks in with this big futuristic like gun and blows it to pieces, and he disappears. And the police turn up, and she tells this she has to stand in front of like a board of high-ranking police officers, and they're going to sack her and try and get her committed, right? And they get this report, and they open it up. She's been recruited to Special Unit 2. Because she sees these things, and she teams up with this O'Malley and takes her back to where they're based, and she meets Captain Page. Well, they're behind. They've got a front, which is the Chinese dry cleaners, but it's in an old tube station downstairs. But it's massive. It's like very Men in Black. Now this is before Grimm and all this, years before stuff like this. Right, so they're this special like unit, and what she finds out that everything she has seen from Connor, they do exist. So all the monsters like gargoyles, gorgons, dragons, gnomes, even fairies, all kinds of all these like mythological fairy creatures and all this, they exist because the human race somewhere thousands or millions of years ago branched off. There were us, and then there were the links. So they're classed as the missing link. Like we're all connected, but they're like these creatures. And some of them have communities. It's like there ain't a lot of them, but they're here. And some like they all follow a certain way. And each week they go out like it always starts off with something at the beginning, like some strange murder or weird magic or whatever, and their job is to go in and stop the perpetrator on one of these links, right? And that's the basic outcome. I love all the secret organization stuff and hidden away in the secret base and all this. Now the base, it has something called the Hole, and that's where they put the real big terabyte, you know, like the big monster ones. They're all locked up down there. And then there's like a prison floor, and then like it's this old abandoned. It's like a bunker in a tube station. It's massive, but it's hidden behind underneath the dry cleaners, and all the dry cleaners, they're all police officers. Now, this division, Special Unit 2, is so top secret that there seems to be one in like certain cities in America. So I don't know if other countries have them. But their job is to protect the people, and nobody knows about it. Because they have a Paulie Perrette from is it CIS with the black hair? She's lovely. She's in it. She's a lot younger in this, and she's the press officer. So when these things happen, she goes out and says, "You never saw that." You know, it's all very Men in Black sort of thing. But what's so great is the characters in it. You've got Captain Page. He's got one arm. He's got this metal hand. And then you've got Carl the Gnome, who's like 1,000-year-old. He's like the snitch. And he's a kleptomaniac. He can't stop holding up banks and robbing stuff. But he gets a lot of leeway because he knows a lot about the links and he gets some information and all this. And then you've got the nerd computer guy. I think they changed him later on in the series. He's like, they've got the scientists and, you know, the brain people. And you end up then, there's O'Malley, whose partner was killed by a link, chopped up into 600 pieces, and he's just going around slaughtering them all. And then there's Kate and the captain, and then they just bring in the odd, like, you know, character. But each week, it's there's like different types of like these links and monsters. I mean, there's one where they're interviewing a virus. It's like a 2-inch woman in a bikini. I mean, this thing is out there. I mean, there's a lot of sexual innuendos, and it's funny. Richard Grant, who I forgot his name, the captain. He's just hilarious. He's like this kick-ass boss. You know, just go out there and kill it, and then he's so straightforward about it. He's going, Carl, you will come into my office, because he's a kleptomaniac, and he's got to give him a lot of leeway. You know, the dwarf, and he's hilarious. He's the dwarf. Well, he's a gnome. Sorry. I'm not being gnomist, right? But he's the gnome, right? And it's just every week. Now, there's great chemistry between the characters, like especially O'Malley and Kate. They work so well together because they end up talking. They're always discussing like the sex lives and the dating life and all that. They just work brilliantly together. And the humour in this is really funny. I don't think they pull this off today with humour because there's these one-liners. Now, there is a bit of cheesiness in there, but you need this in this. It's just great. Don't take it so seriously. Special Unit 2 is just this, like, it's just so overdone, you know, and that's what you love about it. But the character development in this is great. And each time we get these creatures that come in the links, I mean, you get the history of them and all this and what they do, and why they do it, and this is like, I suppose it's like a war, really, because some of these hate human beings. Because I think, from what I can figure out, there is like bits of mention about a long time ago. I think the human race, we probably outnumbered them all, and then we dethroned them. Because they used to have a king. Well, I'm going to go into this in a second. This is why this is definitely a classic, right? Because in season 2, John Delancey comes into it, and he's an Uberlink. He's only known in legend, and apparently he had a kingdom of links thousands or millions of years ago. And he unified them because the links, they can't work with each other. Each one's different. Like there's like a spider one, she's a woman, and then she consumes men. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. But this is what is so bloody cool about it. Well, he's like a super link, and he gets hold of this ring, and he can control every single link in the world. He basically form an army of super-powered army of all these creatures. But he gets stopped. And obviously, he's thousands of years old. He had something to do with O'Malley's partner dying. And it was sort of interesting because you were getting a bit more, and he was taunting him all the time. But obviously, they blew him up, or did they? You know, this is the thing. So already by season 2, you could have established a supervillain link in this, like you know, like the more powerful alpha types right at the top, and that's what I loved about this. This is why it could have gone somewhere. So because this link knew everything about O'Malley, he wanted this black orb for this ring, which powered it up. It was in Osiris's tomb. It's like they took everything out of history and they put it into this, and they've just sort of like, how do you say, they've put it all together and they've created this mythology for this show, and it's great. And it could have spun off into like Special Unit 2 London, or Special Unit 2 Los Angeles, or Special Unit 2 New York. I mean, you could have done this, you know, and this is what's great. Now, the characters in this, like Carl the Gnome, the kleptomaniac, love his character. Him and O'Malley are always having punch-ups. It's funny because he's about 4 foot tall and he jumps on O'Malley and they're all this. But they all like each other. The captain, he's no crapwit captain. He's just straight to the point and he's on it. You know, it's like his one-liners are great, but he's got this metal hand that gnomes like. There's one scene where he gets a bottle of beer and he opens it in his hand. You know, he puts the bottle in the metal hand and that, and he steals his hand as well. It's like metal hand. I mean, the humour in this is very well written. It is. I think you could say, obviously, with a computer monitor, it's all a bit, you know, it's all a bit sort of out of date. But what you could do is like. Is it of its time? Yeah, it is. But you could. It's such a shame. Yeah, it is of its time. You can't. There's no escaping it. The fashion, all the technology. You know, the computers and that. But you don't think about that. You just get into this ride of these people that are all together, and you get all together, and you're just great. You get into the chemistry of it all. Now, I've done 19 episodes of this, and I thought it was brilliant. And, you know, I don't know, after each episode, you are laughing. You do start laughing. So there is something in this series. Now, why is it a classic? Now, it got cancelled after 2 seasons, and it never got a chance, really. Its first season was 6, 7 episodes, and the final season were about 12 or 13. So there were 19 episodes altogether. Luckily, they're all on YouTube to watch, which I'm really happy about. Now, this is a special show, this. Number one, the chemistry of the actors, the action. They did spend the money on this as well. You know, it's not a cheap show. I think they did what they did at the time. I mean, there's like one episode where there's like the creatures, a whole army of the creatures from the Black Lagoon. Tom Welling turns up in this thing right at the beginning. He's only in it for about 3 minutes, but he's in it before he became Superman in Smallville. And you recognise a lot of the stars, you know, from who are quite sort of famous. You see them on telly a lot in TV, so you can. Sometimes you know the name, but you've seen them quite a lot over the years since this time. Some of them are quite established. A lot of the females and the males. I mean, it's been one or two. I thought, oh God, I've seen her so many times, and a lot of stuff, and a lot of them ended up in Stargate and things like that. It's interesting, you know, all these type of series. But Special Unit 2 holds a special place, and now this is something I would love to get hold of on DVD. I mean, I'd like the extras for this. You know, I'd love to see this. I wish they'd bring it out in the UK, you know, on DVD. It's such a shame, you know. But the concept of this, I mean, today we've had stuff like Grimm and is it the Van Helsing series, where it's always a Buffy. I mean, actually, I think Buffy was before that. Yeah, Buffy was a few, yeah. Buffy finished 2003, wasn't it? Or so far, around that time, this sort of pops up. So you could say like Buffy lives as that world of creatures. I mean, the format is quite similar. You know, you've got the humour, the camaraderie, and then you've got secret organisation fighting off these links, these things that diverged off into something else. And some of them have agendas, and they're stopping them every week. But they did create a supervillain for it, and he was only in it for 1 episode. Because by the 3rd season, John Delancey would have returned as this king of the links, because he's hundreds of thousands of years old. So I mean, it was all there. Special Unit 2 has it all. It has the organisation, the villains. You could there's a sort of semblance beginnings of like stories that could be picked up in later seasons. It's all there. The humour is marvellous. The innuendos. And it really represents life at that time as well, I suppose, with the fashion. You really do feel. I mean, I had a good time back then, you know, I did. And I think watching Special Unit, it brings that back for me. But it's just, I mean, the cheese in it, there is some over macho bullshit in it, yeah, but that's what makes it wonderful. You know, Special Unit 2 is an amazing series, you know, and it should have ran for at least 5 seasons. You could have got 5 seasons, and back then, this would have gone for 22 episodes. Now, because I've only seen 19 episodes, I suppose it's like one season, right? You know, so I know it's 2 seasons, but because I've seen 19 episodes as one, as like, it feels like one season, that I think they could, if they could have kept the writing and everything as it was, and expanded on the mythology and the universe of Special Unit 2, I think you could have done 22 episodes of this for 5 seasons. I really do believe that. Now, I did watch a review on this, and the guy said something similar to me about being, well, it's of its time and all that. But you could bring back Special Unit 2 today and just revamp it. But could it catch the magic of these 2 seasons? I don't know. The casting in this and the chemistry between all the characters just works. They just work so well together. So the guy reviewed it. I've only found one of a review on this, unless there might be some others, but I found one review when I typed it in, and he wasn't impressed with it, which that's fair enough. That's his choice, but I did disagree with him on quite a lot. There's something in this, and it's quite positive, and it's like a Special Unit 2. It's like a small plant. The more water you add to it, it grows and it branches out. Do you remember Eureka? That had that humour and all that, but they did 5 seasons of that, didn't they? I'm not saying it's similar, but the humour, that humour, the action, they made quite a lot of TV shows back at this time, quite similar to each other. They had the same feel, didn't they? So for me, out of them type of shows, this is something special, and maybe one season could be just enough, you know. But I would like more, because when I got to episode 19, it was over, and I just felt like I could put in another season right now to watch, you know, and I couldn't do that. But I will say I've watched it a few times over the years. I've caught it on and off, and I mean, I watched the series fully when it all came, both seasons, and I caught it on and off on the odd channel over the years, but it's been full about, I'd say a good 12 years since I sat down and watched the full series. I didn't even know it was on YouTube. I just typed it in out of blue, and it just appeared, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, are you kidding me? Special Unit 2. But I've watched it like several episodes a night this week, and it's been spectacular. I really do recommend this series. It's things like this that needs to be remembered, you know. I think there'll be people out there that's watched this and thought, I love this series. And, you know, I totally get where they're coming from. Now, obviously, there is flaws in this, and people will pick it out when they watch it. But we all experience it differently. This is from my point of view. So, but I do respect some people that don't like it. Like that guy reviewed it. He wasn't really a big fan of it. He remembered it. But the thing about Special Unit 2, how can I put this? Over the years, when I've been out with friends, certain friends of mine have brought it up. Do you remember that weird TV series with them 2 police officers? And they had a secret base somewhere, and they used to kill monsters. And I never, like over the years, sometimes I thought, oh God, I remember that. You know, and so a lot of people, I think a lot of people watched this back in the day. I really do. But the guy that reviewed it, he was quite negative. And, you know, I could see where he's coming from. I sort of did get where he was coming from, but only to a certain point. I just saw the positive in it. You know, it's just like today, I think everything's really dark and grim. in a lot of stuff we watch, which fair enough, we want more intensity, we want more backstory. But this is like it. Before we got to that, the year of Battlestar Galactica and all that heaviness and all that, you know, this is like it's on the tip of it. It's like programs changed after 2005, didn't they? Things started changing TV and movie wise. Things got deeper and darker, but this it holds the line. And I really would like to see programs like this with a sense of humour. There is some sad. I mean, there is a dark undercurrent to this. Obviously, like in the first episode, you know, with the monster with the claws at the windowsill, stuff like that. That's terrifying. Or the monster under the bed. But Special Unit 2, it brings that into it. But then again, the humour and the chemistry of everybody together, it balances it out, and it becomes a very enjoyable experience to watch it. I just wish sometimes they would get back to this now, you know, get back to making programs where you can just enjoy it. You know, I think sometimes, I mean, I like The Expanse and all this. I mean, I'm a big fan of it, but sometimes it's all a bit heavy, isn't it? You know, you like think, oh God, really? And all you know, this is just, you put it on, you enjoy it for what it is. I don't think we do that as much now, you know. So that's my review of Special Unit 2, and I'm going to give it the title. This is definitely a classic, and I'm going to say could have been a classic. This should have been up there with 5 seasons and a Medal of Honor. So I'm going to give the Medal of Honor could have been a classic. So, guys, thanks for watching this review. I will see you Sunday at 5 o'clock. I am trying to get better at these could have been a classic things and researching everything. But just stick with me. I will get better over time, you know. But I'm enjoying, I just love doing this, you know, talking about these obscure TV series. I just think they need to be remembered, you know. You know, I just think I've got a thing for cancelled TV series. I don't know why. And there's a load of them out there. And on this journey, we're going to explore them all. And even the flop movies. So, guys, I will see you on the next video, which will be a live stream Sunday, 5 o'clock. Please let me know your thoughts on Special Unit 2. And, yeah, I'll see you then.